Hello and welcome to First Thoughts. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Carol Leger.
And today we're discussing DC's third fuck up of the year, Blue Beetle. The only good one, which is a damn shame, and probably the one that's going to crash harder than Shazam 2 and The Flash. Shazam and The Flash at least had, name recognition. This one only to the most dedicated comic fans knew who Blue Beetle was. I knew the name. I didn't know the story. So there's not a lot going for this one, which is a damn shame because it is easily the best one and a very entertaining movie. Fuck. Here we are.
Yeah, this situation sucks because it's another DC bomb, which is their third one this year. But whereas I get why the first two bombed. No offense, I know you like the Flash. I get why it bombed.
I didn't make it. Offend me.
But you had Shazam that took what made the fucking first film work and took it out in favor of just put superhero shit in there. That's what people want. No, if I have no story and characters to care about, then I don't care about capes fighting each other for 2 hours. The Flash, that's a whole thing. But you had that, and then you had this movie that was actually fucking good. Like, it had story, it had characters, it had heart, and we'll touch on this more because I think you'd probably more than me would have more to say about this, but it felt authentic in what a culture they were trying to capture. It felt very authentic for a lot of reasons. So it was fucking good. It's what I was hoping that DC would be putting out for a while. And I'll say it easily, minus maybe Guardians 3, honestly, beats the other Marvel offerings I've seen in theaters this year. Straight up. But because of what DC did with their fucking release, no one gave a shit. Like, no one cared, and it fucking bombed. And it's just like, God damn it, man. This was the one good thing they did, and it bombed.
Yeah, this is the first Latino mainstream big screen superhero ever. Marvel, DC, anything. That's, first off, it's fucking sad. Second off, I hope this goes somewhere because it's a good story. It's a family-centric, fun movie with a unique story, a little similar to Venom, but whatever. And I liked it. It was nice liking a superhero movie. I feel like it hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, this was the first time in this year alone, really honestly in a while, because as a lot of people know, I just don't think Marvel's fourth phase of films has been up to snuff compared to prior stuff.
Yeah.
But this was like I said, mine's Guardians Galaxy 3, the second time this year where I was happy while watching the super film. I was loving it. I was happy, I was excited, I got emotional during very certain scenes, what I'm sure we'll talk about. Yeah. Like, I was overall having a great time, and I left the theater happy with this.
Yeah, so did I. One thing I thought was impressive, and which is weird that I think this is impressive now, but because it happens so much now, when it works, you got to praise it. I thought the VFX looked great.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah, it's sad that we're in a year where we have to praise this because so many films have been. What's crazy to me, right? Okay, this movie, the newest Transformers, its visual effects obviously look really good, right?
Yeah.
How is it these films cost less money than The Flash and other horrendously CGI films that cost so much more money? I don't understand that.
I'll never understand where the money goes, especially when you can't see it on screen. I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe that was, I don't know, Ezra Miller's, gun budget or something. I don't know.
I don't get that. This film cost less, but it looked insanely better.
Yep, it did. I think a lot like, past DC projects where directors were left alone and allowed to do their own vision because, again, the studio just didn't give a shit. I'm specifically talking about Wonder Woman and the first Aquaman. Those turned out really good because Patty Jenkins and James Wan were left to their own devices because Warner Brothers basically gave up. And
or James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, again, that should have been way more successful. It just, it came out in a bad time.
Yeah.
But critically, it was amazing. And this movie, Angel Manuel Soto was pretty much given free reign to do his thing, and he developed a Latino-centric, fun, comedic, dramatic adventure that brought a pretty, C-list DC character to, I hope, some mainstream. At least Gunn said he's taking Blue Beetle with him, so we'll probably see him again, which is nice.
Yeah, which makes me happy because I did also with that like the actor in it, so I was like, oh hell yeah, like bring this character back. I'm down for it. Yeah. But yeah, and talking about the Latino thing, like yeah, it's the fact that it's 2023 and like this is the first Latino-led superhero film we have had. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. But when I was talking about the authenticness, I'm sure you might have a little bit more to say on that one, but this family felt real, like how they were interacting, how they were as a unit. It didn't feel like when a white dude was writing something like this. If that makes, it's not like when like someone like myself who was a white man writing this going, I think this is how they talk. I think this is how they interact. This felt authentic. Like the way the Spanglish was being spoken, just like seamlessly off the cuff, was great. The way they just were, as they were as a unit, like this felt real so much through and through, which I really appreciated.
Well, this was written by Gareth Donet Alcosar, a Latino screenwriter. And yeah, this is a fucking Hispanic family. I saw a lot of my dad's family in these guys. Just little things like the like putting the Vapo rub over his nose to get him to wake up. The Spanglish, it felt very authentic and very realistic, and that helped. I heard people laughing at just random shit they would do that other people weren't laughing at, and I thought that was really fun. I don't see that very often. This,
and then it made me actually, look, say, everyone has their opinion on George Lopez. It made him funny. I thought he was hilarious in this movie.
Lopez stole this show. Uncle Rudy was fucking hilarious, but also like a hero. I love they were all heroes. There was never a moment of like, this isn't our fight. Fuck this. It was very much like, we got to go save him. We got to stop this. Like, we got to do this. I love that. There was no hesitation on the family.
That scene was so great when the grandma was like, we don't have time to cry now. We have to get Jaime. Yeah. Right? Jaime is how they said it, right?
Jaime, yeah. I love her random, like, revolutionary past they all kept alluding to.
I can't remember the actress who plays the grandma, but her and
Adriana Barraza.
Thank you. Her and George Lopez stole this movie. They were fucking hilarious.
They were. So Jaime Reyes is the third Blue Beetle behind Ted Cord and Dan Garrett, both of who get mentioned in the movie. I'm so glad they didn't go with, the Ted Cord Blue Beetle and just make this another white superhero movie. I'm glad they focused on Jaime Reyes. This is actually the first, I think, DC character to get his own movie who debuted in the 21st century, which is pretty cool. Jaime Reyes showed up, I think, in 2009 for the first time.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, comics have been a white guy's game for a long time.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, even when you got black characters, you got, you had people like, Luke Cage and Black Panther who were very distinct personalities and were written by primarily white people who were, not doing the best job with representation.
Oh, no. There's a lot of stereotypes in those old comics because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Putting it lightly. Yeah, no, that's why, like, that's why I keep going for authentic. Like it's refreshing, and it to me, like, again, it goes back to like, it shouldn't, like, I don't understand Hollywood's insistence that like people only want to watch a white straight male as their lead, and they want white, 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 white. I'm like, no, most audiences, myself included, don't give a fuck. I just want good characters.
Yes,
And
yes.
if you are going to make them black or Hispanic or Asian, I want to also with that be authentic. I want to not think like, okay, someone that's not this race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, what have you. Clearly is not the one right. It's clearly, someone that's not in that community writing the script. It's refreshing when it is, because then you get that authenticity with the good characters.
And it's not, affirmative action or any of that shit when you do have somebody who's not a straight white male working on one of these projects. It's when you have a character who comes from a certain background, a real life person who shares that background or knows something about it is going to be able to develop the best version of that character that brings out the authenticity that makes this all work. And that's what has worked in film, for films like Black Panther and Shang-Chi and now Blue Beetle, hopefully. You can tell that people who were making this cared about seeing, a reflection of themselves, so to speak, on the big screen. Because that matters. That, my whole fucking thesis was about that. Representation matters. People want to see their own stories, their own families, their own lives reflected in cinema. It makes them feel valued. It makes them feel like part of society. And that, this film did that for a lot of people.
Yeah, it gave you a very authentic Latino family that also you just, in general, regardless of, them being Latino or not, you just liked, because they were a very loving family too. I cannot stress that. Like, it was refreshing to watch something where they weren't bickering or going through it. Like, they were a loving family. They were a unit. And
Yeah.
it was great to watch them.
There was
Great
never a moment where they're like, they don't trust him because he's hiding something, or like they, think this is a curse and they don't want to help him. No, it was, holy shit, he's got superpowers and this is dangerous and he needs our help.
Yes.
Just
Like,
immediately.
yeah, it was refreshing. And because of that, when they did get to, like, the moment when, because I know we're safe to say spoilers, but obviously Alberto, the father of this, you as you learn, was the one that helped, cross the border and get them into America and get this life for them. He unfortunately, he does die, which, yes, if you know anything about filming, you probably saw it coming, because they make a quick reference to him having a stroke in the beginning of the film. So, like, at some point, oh, that's going to come up later. But because you gave me good characters that I cared about, because I love this family so much, and I was in on the story at this point, it hit. I was feeling, I was like, oh no, no, don't do that. I like him.
Yeah. The moment where he's like, Jaime's going through some, like, you know, projected reality and he sees his father and they have that, like, it should be cheesy moment, but it's not. And I don't know what was the moment, like, what was the difference? Because, like, when just going back to the DCEU again, when Superman had that moment with Costner in, I think, Justice League or Batman versus, I don't even fucking remember. I know it happened.
Yeah.
It felt cheesy and out of place. Here, it didn't.
Well, because I think the thing is, you're invested. In those movies, I wasn't invested. I didn't give a shit. So, like, when it happened, I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
I gave a shit. And, going to a more recent example, The Flash, right? Up until that one scene at the end of the film with his mom in the grocery store where, he gives her the stuff. Minus that one scene, at no other point was I really emotional during the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I was never really that invested in his plight. I was never really, like, when they show the scene where she dies, right? And she gets killed. I wasn't feeling it from, like, at no other point but that one scene. I wasn't, because I wasn't really that invested in the film. I was like, oh my God, this movie it's okay. I was invested though. Like, again, it goes back to, like, you gave me something to get invested in that I got sucked into. And because they spent so much time, I think, putting the family first more than anything, as opposed to, like, it's a superhero film and then here's the family. This is a family film with superhero shenanigans involved. Because of that, when it got to that scene, it worked. Because as soon as I thought, like, okay, I'm good, I'm not sad anymore, I'm having a good time with this movie again. And then that scene came up again, I was like, oh God damn it, movie, don't do this to me again. don't do it again.
So this is the 14th film in the DCEU, possibly the final one if Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom doesn't, arrive, which I don't know at this point. They shelved Batgirl. Maybe they'll shelve this too.
I need James Bond to do something that isn't attached to Warner Brothers, please.
Yeah, it's yeah. So since this is probably the last one of this horrifically misguided, constantly devolving home of bad decisions cinematic universe, I thought we could kind of go through each of them briefly and just say like, what one nice thing that we liked about these 14 movies.
Some of these films are gonna be hard, but okay.
So this thing started in 2013 with Man of Steel, which
Okay.
we all were like, oh, this I like Superman. But this looks sad. Why does this look sad? Superman's not sad. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know why this was sad, but that was the vibe that started this universe. So every other superhero got a little piece of sad Superman. Zack Snyder was the guy with the vision, and we got a lot of terrible movies out of that vision. Man of Steel is one I haven't revisited in a long time. The one positive I have to say about it, Henry Cavill and Michael Shannon were perfectly cast.
Well, say, look, I'll say it. I don't mind that movie. Besides the misguided tone for it, I don't mind that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I think Henry Cavill and Michael Shannon were great in their roles. Be my positive as well.
Yeah. Amy Adams and Lawrence Fishburne, criminally underused throughout the entire franchise. We never got any real Lois Lane or Perry White. Jimmy Olsen got shot to death at the beginning of the next movie.
Like that one bugs me. You get Amy Adams to play fucking Lois Lane and you don't use her. Like, what the fuck?
We never really got any Clark Kent either. Snyder didn't know how to do that, I guess. He made Superman this like invincible god worshipped by humanity, which is weird.
You want to go down that rabbit hole with Superman being like this, a realistic approach to Superman and how he reacts if he came to our Earth. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Just give me the dude in tights, fine, fucking the big-headed guy known as Brainiac. Like, let's just go. All right.
This is comic books. Comic books haven't been realistic since the 30s. Why are we suddenly looking for that now?
Also, with Superman, like, I would understand doing like Batman. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
I was like, but Superman? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Just fucking give me Superman.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the hope and beacon of light in this universe, but he's the guy who's breaking necks and screaming at himself and hating who he is and not knowing where he belongs. Like, Jesus Christ, Zach, why'd you do that? Why'd you make Superman the saddest fucking character in this entire franchise?
I don't know. Now he's at a point now where he got denied a Star Wars movie, so he's like, I'm just gonna make it my own movie. Like, all right, you do you.
It's exactly how Star Wars happened. George Lucas wanted to make a Flash Gordon movie, and they wouldn't let him, so he's like, I'll make my own.
Don't say that. The Snyderverse fans might be listening, and that's going to make them latch on real quick.
You think after the shit we have said about him and his work, any Snyder fans are still listening to this show? That's an optimism that Snyder certainly didn't have.
Fair enough.
So that was followed by Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, which had a terrible title and sounded like a court case.
I mean, Batman v Superman.
I'd like to call into question the case of Batman v Superman 2016 to back up my claim in court, Your Honor. We all had incredibly high expectations for this one. This was the first time ever we got to see Batman and Superman on the big screen together. And what a monumentous letdown. At this point, we had to have thought, like, this is what we've got to look forward to for the next 10 years, is it? Yep.
Both cuts, too, because I watched both the theatrical and then the extended, 3-hour cut. Both suck.
Yeah, I didn't get any the little bit of Steppenwolf was, like, the only change I noticed in the extended.
I think that was it.
Well, all right, one nice thing about this one.
I got mine while you're thinking of yours.
Okay.
The warehouse fight scene is one of the best fucking Batman fight scenes ever committed to film. I don't even really like Batfleck all that much, but holy fuck that fight scene.
Okay. All right, fair enough. That was good. Wonder Woman's introduction.
I'll give you that. Wonder Woman. That was when we thought, hey, okay.
That whoever composed that music for Wonder Woman, holy fuck, that's like the best thing about this entire DC.
His name is the same guy who did the Mad Max fucking theme.
Was that
For the
Chunky XL?
It was Chunky XL. There you go.
Yeah, nice. that was cool as shit. Um, I don't know why Snyder decided to turn Lex Luthor into essentially a like blogger super billionaire asshole. I don't know why that was the worst decision.
I hated every second of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
God. I think he's a good actor, but this would there's certain actors when they get cast as supervillains in comic book movies. I don't know why they always try to emulate the Joker. I don't even know if it's a conscious decision.
I don't think it's the actor. I think it's how they write these fucking things and then get directed.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what a waste of Doomsday.
What a waste of that whole storyline. Like the Death of Superman storyline, its own story, its own movie, as far as I'm concerned. Not like let's tack it on with 30 minutes left in the film.
Yeah. And also, we've had one movie with the Superman. We're not emotionally invested in this guy yet. You can't kill him in part two and expect us to have this. And the whole movie is like Congress trying to tell him to stop.
Oh yeah, I didn't look when he died. I did not give a shit. I'm like, this was supposed to be impactful. Like I remember this was a huge comic when it came out. Like that was decades with the character and them saying, "Hey, we're killing him for the first time in comics." And again, I know they always come back and shit, but this was like major. Like it's happening in the comic. He is dying.
Yeah.
Like wait for this, and it fucking hit. 2 movies in, and you're like, wait till you see me kill. Like no, just because his name's Superman doesn't mean I'm gonna be that invested in it. Like I need to latch onto this actor playing him.
No. Their animation department did a 2-part film out of that comic book. They did The Death of Superman and Reign of the Supermen, where all the duplicates who keep, Cyborg Superman and the Eradicator and Steel all show up claiming to be Superman, but who's the real Superman? They did a 2-part movie and then they edited it together into a giant ass 3-hour movie that I've yet to watch, but I really am looking forward to checking that out. And it's part of their, so I don't know if you're aware of this, but the DC animated universe with the Flashpoint Paradox movie started their own cinematic universe that ended.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Ended with Apocalypse War. Nobody was paying attention to that, but for 7 years they were developing an interconnected DC universe with like well-constructed characters, great arcs, and yeah, like what the fuck? Like why not just give those guys the reins to the DCEU because they knew what they were doing. Those movies are amazing.
Yeah, I've heard, like I've seen some of the animated stuff. I've seen a lot of the non like connected cinematic universe stuff. I guess like the Elseworlds or the hell they call that stuff.
Elseworlds,
yeah, and I've enjoyed all that. Like that shit's been great. I've been meaning to like dedicate time to actually watching like the in universe like canon stuff they've done because I've heard really good things from people.
I've only seen a handful of them because I didn't know it was a thing till I watched Apocalypse War, the last movie in that canon. And they were referencing stuff that happened before. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this all connected? And I looked it up and I'm like, holy shit, this is a secret cinematic universe nobody was paying attention to. And it blew my mind. So now I want to watch. Yeah, I gotta do that.
But I'll say, yeah, I have to do like a my Google search to make sure I have all my ducks in order when I do it.
Yeah, definitely look up the timeline, get that right. And yeah. So after Batman v Superman, Attorney at Law, we got Suicide Squad. Possibly at the time, the worst one. Can't really blame David Ayer on that. Apparently his version's great, which is now the explanation every director can take when their movie sucks. Like, oh, that's not mine. That's the studio's version. Release the Ayer cut.
No offense to Ayer. And I will watch his cut when it comes out, because it sounds like Gunn is apparently on board with releasing it one day.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it probably still sucks because everything he's talked about with his cut of the film still sounds terrible.
Well, it was weird for Suicide Squad to be like their third movie. Like that's a weird one to immediately jump into without establishing the heavy hitters first.
It was weird, and then they kept changing it because I think it came out not so long after Guardians of the Galaxy, so then they started like tinkering with the damn movie.
Yep. Well, that one has, gave us Harley Quinn and Deadshot and few other people. Like, it's not a very memorable film. I've
I
only seen it once.
no, it's in my collection. I thought like, oh, I'll buy DC movies since I have buy Marvel films. You know, me just being a completionist, and I stopped buying DC films. Um, but stop buying Marvel films honestly too. I have not kept up since Phase 3.
I
Really,
will
Phase.
buy. I'll buy them if they're on the clearance shelf at half price books. Like, that's when I'll buy these movies. But I'm not rushing out to buy top dollar, like, day of release $30 Blu-rays.
Yeah, I get you on that one. Especially now, and I at first at one point I was like, oh, I should get all of them, but now that Disney dabbled into like the fucking Disney Plus shows, I'm like, I don't need to buy these movies now because it's always going to be incomplete because you have all these fucking Disney Plus shows that only exist on Disney Plus.
Yep.
But it's Suicide Squad. Wow, God, I can spend more time talking about how much I fucking despise this movie from the horrendous Killer Croc design. I fucking hated the design of not Killer Croc. But yeah, Killer Croc.
The real quick, the Oscar-winning makeup team of Suicide Squad. This film won an Oscar for best makeup.
Which is such bullshit because Killer Croc looked like fucking ass. From that to oh god, the whole Jared Leto with it all.
Well, also to cast him as a weird pimp Joker and then to just sideline the guy and not even have him be a major part of the movie.
And also just stop casting Jared Leto in fucking superhero films because why do you want to deal with all that bullshit he always brings forth?
Stop casting him completely. Apparently, he's a very bad person, from what I hear.
Yeah, just stop casting him. We don't need him.
No.
Yeah, look, I'm probably just gonna echo what you said, honestly. I can't think of a fucking thing. It gave us Margot Robbie's rendition on Harley Quinn, which yes is the most problematic version to look at now because yes, she was clearly very sexualized compared to later incarnations of her time in the character. But she is really good in the role. She's great. I really liked her in the role. And I'll give Will Smith credit. Like, he was really good as that shot. So I like those two a lot.
Robbie got better once the character got a little bit more substance.
Substance in what she was able to have more control on the character.
Yes.
Because she did a lot of good stuff with it.
She did. I'm gonna say Viola Davis as Waller was brilliant casting.
I forgot about that. She has been fucking great in that role.
Yeah. Another piece of this puzzle that Gunn is taking with him.
God, because yeah, she's getting her own show, and I'm actually looking forward to that one.
Yeah. So we got that. After that was Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman.
Okay,
and this one rocks. This was great.
This was good. Yes, I really do like this one. I know a lot of people have issues with like the third act because it devolves into like your basic superhero third act, but it's still a fun movie.
It's the second they name dropped Ares, did anybody really think we weren't gonna fucking see him? Like, yeah, they're gonna fight at the end of the movie. Of course. I saw that shit coming, by the way. David Thewlis actually being Ares, I called that shit.
And it being, oh yeah, I was like, hey, dude, as soon as I saw that it was Professor Lupin, that's just how I knew it. I was like, oh, he's the bad guy. Like, he was a werewolf in Harry Potter. He's gonna be a bad guy in this, and I was right.
There's no way the bad guy of this movie is the actual general of the German troops during World War One. Like, no way. But yeah, I think, the design of Themyscira, all the way that Amazons are written, Gal Gadot did a great job. I love Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. Like, Wonder Woman's one to revisit, and that's such a good movie because Patty Jenkins was left alone to do her own thing.
Yes, that one was really good, and to all the assholes at the time that were like, Gal Gadot can't be Wonder Woman because basically, I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, for those who forgot, her tits aren't big enough. That was the online discourse. Try to deny it. It was.
I remember that.
Yeah. Guess what? It doesn't matter because Gal Gadot rocks and roll. She is hot. I'll say it. She's fucking beautiful, and she kicks ass as the character. She rocks. Okay.
I found it funny that all of the Amazons had to basically imitate her accent because they didn't want to have to explain why Wonder Woman sounded Israeli.
No, yeah. I want to quickly wonder, and I'm just going to throw this question out there because I've thought it since the movie came out. It's an island of just women.
Yeah.
And they have children.
Yeah.
What guys impregnating these ladies? Like, what's going on to have more?
Oh, that's the gods are showing up and shaping them out of clay. That's the explanation.
Oh, is that the I didn't I missed that part. I was like, wait, did they just have some poor soul just like trapped in the dungeon? Like, you come out. It is time.
They do not just have a cock on lockdown to make kids. That's not what's happening on the Themyscira.
Yeah. And it's funny because obviously we're like, well, that would be awesome. Look at it. It's an island of attractive women. I'm like, does it though? You'd be locked up.
Yeah.
You probably only get brought out to be used for like 2 minutes.
You're not fucking these women. You're being jerked off into a cup. That's what's happening.
Yeah. And then you're sent back to your dungeon until the next time.
That's hell. That's absolute hell.
Actually sounds awful. But besides her, the one thing I do want to actually pinpoint, outside of Gal Gadot just being fucking awesome in the role, the No Man's Land scene, great.
Yeah. The like proper intro to her in the costume and everything.
Yeah, that scene is so good.
Yeah. And again, the fucking music, man. She has like maybe the most kick-ass theme, like superhero theme of the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, I like her theme a lot. I forget that yeah. I hate that they've overused it anytime she's fucking cameoed in any of the films this year, but in her movie it's great.
Yep. Speaking of next up, and yeah, it does seem too soon, Justice League.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Not the Snyder cut, which we will get to, but the Snyder Whedon cut that I thought at the time wasn't bad. It was nice to have some goddamn levity in these movies for once. I didn't think anything was wrong with that. I thought the way they handled the Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg's intro was fine, considering they didn't get their own movies beforehand and they had to basically just explain these people away in 2 hours. Steppenwolf was an interesting villain. At the time, I was hoping for, more. Thought he looked weird. But I didn't think it was that bad. I thought Justice League was fine, considering are we
talking just solely the theatrical cut right now, or
not the Snyder cut, the 2017? These are two different movies.
I just have to make sure before I get into, like, are we talking solely the Whedon
solely cut? The 2017 Justice League that we got at the time and underperformed terribly.
Got it. Justice League.
Yes.
As it was dubbed.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I walked away thinking, like, I like that. Because my expectations were so fucking low for this franchise.
I only saw it one time, and it was when I was coming back from deployment. I was in Hawaii at the time, and I actually did it back to back. So I saw Thor Ragnarok right before it.
Oh, that's not good. That's too. That's too good. You can't follow. You can't follow that with Justice League.
Yeah, it was. I should have flipped it.
Yes.
I can barely remember this film. I saw it the one time and I was like, this is okay. And I like never watched it again.
The thing, I was perfectly happy with okay because I was expecting fucking stupid. So I could work with okay.
Yeah, my problems would be like, it was cool seeing them on screen together. I'll buy it. I wish there was actors I cared more about and better take on these characters. It's hard for me to pick up because I barely remember this film. It was okay, and there's very little things I liked about the film itself.
Fair enough. I'm gonna give some praise to finally seeing a cheesy Superman. I liked Cavill got to be a little goofier.
Yeah,
I like that.
Seeing the black suit for a little bit was kind of cool, but I was like, all right, let's get Superman happy here.
No, black suit was in the Snyder cut. That wasn't in this.
God damn it! See, the wires were crossed.
Yes,
saw this movie once.
All right. Well, after Justice League was Aquaman, and that was the first $1 billion success they had, which is still baffling to me.
That many movies in too. I think it hasn't been. No, they had Joker. That was another $1 million success. But was that the only one? I was like,
Joker was not DCEU. That's its own weird thing over here. But Joker was $1 billion. Aquaman was $1 billion, and that is it.
Jesus.
Wonder Woman came close. And I think Man of Steel was in like the 700, 800 million range. But yeah. Yeah. Aquaman, Momoa, pretty good as this badass Arthur Curry, King of Atlantis. I thought Patrick Wilson was fucking great as Ocean Master. Yeah. I don't like that Amber Heard's in this. She poisons this movie.
Look, even before all the shit went down to her and Johnny Depp, let it be known Anyone's saying like you're only saying that because of Johnny Depp thing. I didn't like her before all that, and that trial was just like it's kind of like the whole Ezra Miller thing, right? I didn't really like the guy before all the shit went down, and then the shit went down. Has anyone ever heard? I really like her before that, then the shit went down.
I have a family member who worked with her on the set of a movie, and yeah, she's a huge bitch. And this was back in 2013. So yeah, I already didn't care for her. And then when all that shit went down with Depp, yeah, I didn't buy him being an abuser for a second.
Yeah. So just to clarify on the same, this was before this shit, and I wasn't that into her character in the movie. Um, no, for me, yeah, I remember I saw this. This was a fun movie. It was just like it was so refreshing after so many dour films. It was just like, oh, we can have fun, can we, DC? Nice. It was fun. Momoa was awesome in the role. I'm with you. Patrick Wilson was also great. And it was just nice that they could actually make Aquaman cool. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, the history of Aquaman comics is that he's not really cool. He's kind of like he's a dorky fucking superhero. Like he sucks.
Well, 70s, like pre 70s Aquaman was this goofy guy in an orange leotard who's like, fish, come help me save this oil rig from, poisoning the ocean. We got the. But then in the 80s and 90s, Aquaman was this fucking one-armed, claw-handed, badass king of Atlantis who took no shit. So that's the Aquaman from like the Justice League cartoon that like I grew up with. So I never really saw the Super Friends Aquaman whose ass I could kick. But like badass Aquaman was the one I was, I knew about and was looking forward to. So I'm glad that's the one we got.
Yeah, and I mean, who better to do that than Momoa? He's like a fucking beast of a man. Let's just be honest for ourselves here, guys.
There's a good to fair chance he's gonna be playing Lobo.
I'm down for that. He's also that's another role that as soon as I heard that room star, I was like, he's actually quite perfect for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. I will say, man, back when theaters used to be packed for these movies, just like I remember the collective, just like the disgruntled despair when we got Fat Thor and Avengers Endgame from like the entire theater of females. I never once sat in a theater and had a moment of like, okay, you ladies need to calm down. Quite when you could hear all the ladies the moment he gets on the submarine, he turns around and goes, permission to come aboard. Dear God, you could hear it in the theater. It's like, okay, guys, calm down. We all know it's Mo. We get it. So I'll take a break.
God. But again, this is also I haven't gone back to a lot of these. Even the good ones, I haven't really revisited. Which is
I haven't seen this one in years. I remember I watched it a couple times afterwards, and it holds up. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I haven't gone back to it in like fucking years.
I think the only I've seen Man of Steel a couple times. I've seen Wonder Woman a couple times, but the rest of these I've only seen once.
Yeah.
Next up was Shazam. Not bad. Another one that's kind of forgettable, but a decent movie. I remember it being good, but I couldn't tell you much about it.
It was fun, and I remember what I liked about it. My positive was that it actually kind of like Blue Beetle did recently. It was a family story first and foremost, which Shazam, and then I thought that worked really well in its favor.
Yeah. Well, I remember I liked seeing John Glover. He's one of my favorite character actors. It was nice to see him there, and I thought Mark Strong did a decent job as Dr. Sivana. But that's all I got for Shazam.
Zachary Levi, before he had his meltdown this year, was really good in the role. I thought he was fucking great as Shazam in the first movie.
Yeah, as an actor, aren't you supposed to just move on to the next project and try to make that a success? When you have a failure like this, can't you just move the fuck on and be an actor?
Well, now he has a strike, so instead of trying to move on, now he's really fucked.
That's a good point. It's hard to believe, like, all these movies got smushed into 10 years to try to build this cinematic universe. Like, they did not take their time. They rushed everything. So it all feels so disjointed.
And what's crazy at this time, they didn't work, so they were clearly trying to make them more self-contained with the occasional reference at this point. Like, Aquaman had the occasional reference. Shazam had the occasional reference, and the whole bullshit with Superman where they couldn't show Cavill. I think he finally got the role in The Witcher, and there was the bad blood between him and DC. So it's just like, it was weird. It was a weird fucking time.
Yeah, you could tell they weren't building towards anything. Like there was no point to why is it even a cinematic universe if you're not going to like work towards a goal? Nah.
I
But
don't.
Shazam was followed by Birds of Prey. Probably the one that the like more I feel like most people have forgotten about. Uh,
Probably, and this was known that I remember really, really liking.
yeah,
I it had a confusing ass title because it got changed like 5 fucking times before it
yeah.
released.
I'm not including the dumbass subtitle. It's Birds of Prey. That's all it is.
Yeah, what was it the Fabulous Amanda? Oh yeah, but I do remember really enjoying this film. I really liked Ewan McGregor as fucking
Black.
goddamn. Thank you, Black Mask. I was about to say face was like, that's not right. That is not right at all. As about yes, it's not your stereotypical take on the character. One could say it's slightly queer coded, but I quite enjoyed this take on Black Mask. I liked how flamboyant and over the top and just crazy Ewan McGregor and wild and stuff he went with the role. I quite enjoyed it.
I did too. I thought he was great. I love that it was rated R. You could finally go crazy with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the like how the Birds of Prey came together. You know, the Huntress and Black Canary and Renee Montoya. Like I liked all the characters, and it was funny and bizarre and exactly what a Harley Quinn movie should be. So this was a win. I enjoyed this one, but it again underperformed. This, the combination of everyone hated Suicide Squad and COVID was on the, about to happen. So, yeah. Wonder Woman 1984. What a terrible fucking sequel. My God. So problematic, horribly forgettable, and just bad. Just boring and bad.
This is another one where I cannot think of a fucking positive thing to say. Like it, oh god, I was on deployment when this came out, and I'd seen kind of like on like the news we did get the debacle with like it going to Max and people freaking out. I watched it when I got back, so I was like, well, okay, if I watch any more DCEU movies, I need to sit through this one so I'm caught up. Because I think I was getting ready to go watch one when I got back. I think I was getting ready to go watch the Suicide Squad. I was like, well, I haven't seen Wonder Woman 1984 yet. Somebody fucking knock this one out. And just wow, what a fucking terrible movie. Which, okay, look, for all you people that have not been shutting up about the plot line to No Hard Feelings, especially if you haven't seen the damn movie. I haven't seen it myself, but for those who remember, there's been a big fucking online debacle about the age.
Both consenting adults.
Both consenting adults. Yes. Let's actually talk about Wonder Woman 1984, shall we? And that actual problematic storyline of her raping someone essentially because she put her dead lover in a dude's body.
And that was the best idea they could come up with for bringing Steve Trevor back. Maybe just bring him back. Why do you gotta? It's a movie with magic in it. Come up with something better.
Yeah. Instead of that, I'm sorry, that is the actual definition of non-consensual sex. The dude in the body doesn't have any kind of way to give consent. It's her dead fucking lover.
Yeah, very weird.
That's weird. That's creepy. I did not like that storyline.
No. Also, Kristen Wiig terribly miscast as Cheetah. Pedro Pascal, I felt miscast as Maxwell Lord. Like,
how do you miscast one of the most lovable, most awesome fucking actors in Pedro Pascal? Like, come on, what the fuck?
And then to literally have the movie end with like the power of friendship or some shit like that. God, this movie sucked.
This movie, I know we're trying to say one positive thing. I got nothing besides Gal Gadot just being still good in the movie because everything else about it fucking sucked. Problematic storylines, boring ass villains.
Yep,
boring movie.
I got nothing. Next up, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the film that got bullied into being released because fans had to they couldn't accept that there was only one bad Justice League movie out there. They had to be like, there's got to be another one. There has to be another one. And it turns out there was. And yeah.
Mostly, have your feelings changed in this? I remember when you told me about it, you were into it, and I watched and I was like, dude, this movie's okay. Like,
I think it's good. I like it. I don't love it. but I do think it's better
It is,
than the original version. I love the inclusion of Darkseid. I think Steppenwolf's redesign looks way better, and his story actually makes sense. You get where he's coming from with all this, trying to impress the apocalypse people so we can get back home. I get that. I like that. I thought the resurrection of Superman was done better. We get the black suit. Flash's time travel shenanigans was done better. I don't know why they shoved Martian Manhunter in here if you're not going to use him. uh, so yeah, I think it's fine. Am I going to watch it again? No, it's 4 hours long. That's two, maybe three other movies I could be watching.
yeah. Um, yeah, look, I will say this. Like, I do think this film was overly long, overly self-indulgent.
This was never going to be the final like theatrical cut of Justice League in 2017. Even if Snyder hadn't gone through the tragedy he went through and had to leave production, no way in fuck was this going to be the movie Warner Brothers released.
No, it was going to get trimmed to at least 2.5 hours at best.
Yeah.
What I will say, and that is the positive I will say, actually, is on that note, not the suicide of his daughter, for anyone jumps to conclusions.
I don't think anyone was going there, but okay. Jesus.
Not that, but and I remember I mentioned it when I first watched it, is that I am glad in light of what happened and how they handled that, and just because that was wrong on the studio's part. When, for those who don't know, basically during the production of Justice League, Snyder's daughter, I forget because he has actually quite a bit of kids, and his wife. So I don't think it was his only daughter, but one of his daughter committed suicide, and he had to, he very understandably was like, I need to leave production, going through the ringer. Very understandable thing. The studio was being assholes, wanted him to finish the movie. Basically said, well, if you're going to leave, we're hiring Joss Whedon, and he's going to finish the fucking movie and do it his way. Like, complete assholes in light of something no parent should ever have to deal with. So that's where my positive comes in, that I am glad, even though the fans did bully, that he was able to come back and give us his completed vision after going through what he needed to go through in his personal life. And I was glad he was able to come back and give us his complete vision of his version of Justice League he wanted to do, because you don't get that a lot in Hollywood. So for that, kudos to him. I'm very, very happy for him.
True, but I do not like the precedent this movie set. So because the fans were able to basically bully Warner Brothers into releasing this, now they think whenever a movie comes out that's not up to their expectations, there's got to be a secret, better director's cut out there. And now they're clamoring for that. And they have done that so many fucking times since.
Yeah. And it's because they think like, oh, they're reshooting. Oh, no, look, all films go through reshoots. All films have a fucking, like, believe it or not, even like the upcoming Saw X, I guarantee you they shot 3 hours worth of a movie at least.
Yeah.
At least. When it comes out, you're going to get an hour and a half to an hour 40 minutes of that movie. Because at the end of the day, it's called the assembly cut. It's everything they shot, all the angles, all the different takes. It's not meant to be the complete goddamn film.
Yeah.
All right. That was the difference between this and what fans want in every goddamn movie. Snyder's case was different. He filmed something. The studio acted like assholes in light of a very horrific tragedy he was having to go through, and made a completely different film before he could finish his take on it. That's completely different from what fans, like you said the president for, and fans keep clamoring for every damn movie that it just doesn't go their way.
Yeah. Well, it got out. It exists. You can go buy it. You can watch it on HBO, whatever.
It's there. It's apparently getting a re-release on 4K as well. So
yay. I can't wait to not buy that. Next up was The Suicide Squad, James Gunn's answer to Disney firing his ass briefly for Guardians 3 and the movie he made interim. So if Disney had never fired Gunn for Guardians 3 initially, he never would have been romanced by DC, and we would not be getting this impending epic rejuvenation. So good job, Disney.
Proud of you.
Yeah. Thanks. Question mark. The Suicide Squad is, in my opinion, the best movie of this entire franchise.
Oh yes, without doubt. I fucking love this one. What can I not say about this? Like, from the humor to the story to not being so goddamn drab and grim. Fucking King Shark. Oh my god. I remember when they announced like Stallone's voice in King Shark, I was like, that seems like a stupid decision. No offense to Stallone at all. If I'm like, I don't think, but then I watched it and I was like, okay, no, I like this.
Gunn has the most amazing skill of turning the dumbest characters into absolute darlings. And he does that so many times with this movie. Every character is a D-list, you know, character no one ever heard of, apart from Harley Quinn. But like Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man, like really? But they're the best fucking characters. Like they're awesome. Peacemaker got his own spin-off series, which was fantastic.
Oh, it was great. And we had a movie, but we had to watch, was it Calendar Man? Till Polka Dot Man to fuck off or whatever, or fuck you. That was great. Two of the like worst goddamn villains in comics history had an interaction.
You've got that beautiful like kill off scene between Bloodsport and Peacemaker where they're just like killing these rebels in increasingly weird ways to try to one up each other.
Oh my god, that's
brilliant one where Peacemaker just stabs the guy up his leg. Like that movie's brilliant. I love the Suicide Squad.
Dude, the movie's so good. I love when King Shark is like friends in the fucking thing and they start attacking him.
I love that. I love that the bad guy is fucking Starro the Conqueror, like the giant space starfish, like psychic alien thing that nobody but James Gunn could make work on the big screen.
Oh yeah, no, he made that work. Oh god, and I remember when I heard like I always liked John Cena. I always thought this guy was like really funny in comedies.
No.
When I heard he was Peacemaker, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Never heard of this character before though. Yeah, like you said, he is so goddamn good in this movie.
He has the greatest explanation for his like vigilanteism I've ever heard in a movie, which is, and I quote, I cherish peace like with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get it. Like, what the fuck? That is such a great concept.
Dude, my favorite thing he said, it's not even in the movie, it's in the show, in the Peacemaker show. When that one person that neighbor keeps giving him shit and he's not Batman or whatever, and he's like, you would make Batman want to have a fucking problem if he wasn't such a pussy and killed his villains. He like just lost it on the guy.
Oh, yeah. Did that get a physical release, Peacemaker?
I think it did actually.
I might have to pick that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch Suicide Squad and Peacemaker because goddamn, those are so good.
And Gunn is taking them with him too.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. The Suicide Squad, I hate that it fucking flopped. It was a weird time when it came out though, so I kind of get it.
But it wasn't just COVID, it also, was the people hated the first movie. They thought this was a sequel, and yeah, there was a lot working against this movie, regrettably.
There wasn't really, but goddamn, was this such a huge improvement that I fucking love this one. I've gone back to it so many times. It's so good.
I may watch this tonight. I haven't seen it in a while. I think I will. Next up, Black Adam. Ooh,
What the hierarchy of DC has changed.
Yeah, which by that they mean you're now at the bottom, Dwayne. Way to go. What a disaster this movie was. Oh my God. Just The Rock's weird determination to make this work no matter who he pissed off or how many lies he told. He went a little apeshit over this movie, which in the end turned out to be really bland and forgettable.
Oh God, yeah. He made such a big stink about this film and it ended up being like mediocre at like best, at absolute best.
Yeah. All right. He's not bad in the role. There you go. That's all I got.
God, I'm trying to think. Actually, wow, I saw this last year and I'm just like, what did I actually like about this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I liked, was it the Justice Society of America?
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I liked them. I thought they were the best part of the film. But also doing what it does best, which is let's introduce these characters that you should give a shit about, but we gave you one movie to give a shit about.
Yep. God damn it. Yeah, I thought Pierce Brosnan, especially as Dr. Fate, was very good casting. I loved Aldous Hodge as Hawkman. Like they were good. They were good. I'll give you that. Could have used a better villain. and I wish Black Adam had been painted as more of a villain and not an anti-hero, because people may forget this, but he is the arch nemesis of Shazam. That's how it works.
That goes back to what you mentioned earlier. With those who don't know, why you probably haven't seen The Rock and anything other than like the strike and all that stuff going on. I firmly believe that this may have like not tanked his career, but it dipped it a little bit because he very infamously, it's been reported he lied about box office numbers to WB, which pissed them off. He was adamant that no, I know that this character is a Shazam villain, but I don't even like the Shazam character, so we're making it my movie. Like things like that. He lied to Henry Cavill, who came back to play Superman. He told him like, "Oh yeah, DC wants you back. You're going to be part of it again. You're going. This is the movie."
That was that above all was some cold shit, and I don't like that he did that.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, dude, why? Oh god, I doubt Henry Cavill's probably going to work with him like ever again.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did a lot of that stuff to get this film made, and then of course was going on about like it's going to change the DC hierarchy, and like the film ended up tanking, and you quickly saw why Black Adam is a fucking Shazam arch enemy, because as his own character, he's not all that fucking interesting.
Yeah, this is I think Dwayne Johnson lost some likability after this, which is that's gonna hurt.
It's why he had to go back to his family.
Yeah.
Just saw Fast Sex. Know what I'm talking about?
Now we're getting what is it? Hobbs and Reyes is the name of the movie.
God.
Yep. I think Gunn should just. I think he should cast Henry Cavill as Batman.
Oh my god!
I think that would be beautiful. Somebody big, with a multi-film contract that's unbreakable.
I do love the amount of damage control Gunn had to do after that film, as his DC was getting ready to get announced. He's like, "Yeah, we're not moving forward, Cavill. I did not make this promise." Like pretty much like throwing it off to The Rock. Like, nope, I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
like not putting this on me.
Well, next up was Shazam: Fury of the Gods, the only one of this bunch I didn't bother to see and still haven't watched. So it's all you.
Horror, son of a bitch. It's not nearly as good as the first film. They literally, so like I said, my positive, right? The family aspect of the first film is completely stripped from this film in favor of 2 hours of just superheroes fighting. Zachary Levi, again, the point is like he's portraying the character as the kid he is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a time jump forward, not backwards, right? So why do I feel like Levi is playing him like he did in the first film, if not even younger, but in the kid's supposed to be like fucking 18 years old. If that makes sense. It was fucking dumb. And then they also said, let's just, because we obviously can't use fucking Black Adam because of The Rock, and they don't want to follow up with the shit from the post-credit scene of Shazam.
Yeah.
Do new villains that don't exist in the comics.
Oh, that's always a good idea.
Like, why? Okay, sure, we'll go with that. Don't get me wrong, I like Carolyn Marin and Lucy Liu. They're great, but so there was a lot I just was not really into with this one. I was kind of tuned out.
Yeah.
What did I actually like about? Oh my god, what did I like about this one? Wow. Nope, not the Wonder Woman cameo because that was fucking stupid, and apparently not Gal Gadot.
Really?
Apparently it was like a deep fake or something like that.
Dear God.
Yeah.
Say what you want about the Flash. At least it was her.
Yeah. Oh, I have my issues with other cameos in that one.
Fair enough.
Fuck, I got nothing. I'm thinking like
fine.
I got nothing positive on this one. I can't. Levi had a meltdown. That's my positive. You got to watch Zachary Levi have a complete fucking meltdown because of this film's box office.
Wow. We're running out of time anyway. So next up is The Flash, which we covered extensively on a First Thoughts. Michael Keaton is my positive. I think he did a great job.
Yes, I'll agree with you there. For me, it was the emotional scene that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, that was a fucking great scene.
That did do well. I didn't mind seeing Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater and Adam West and Nicolas Cage. I know it wasn't real. I think I was just excited to see them.
And that was my beef. I'm like, I don't need a CGI rendition of this. Fuck off.
Fair enough. And now we're to Blue Beetle, which is good and fun and exciting and family centric and a decent story and definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, look, I know a lot of their films have sucked. DC does not have a good track record. But do what you can to support this one because Blue Beetle is actually really fucking good. It's solid, it's fun, emotional, authentic, all that good stuff, and I'm very excited to see what they do with the character going forward. Since Gunn's bringing him into the DCU, if they're going to retcon anything or still go with this as a template, I'm not sure what they're doing there.
I cannot wait to see what Gunn's first incarnation of the Justice League looks like when he gets to that point because I know he's not going to swing out of the fucking gate with that because he's a smart filmmaker. So eventually we're going to get a Justice League, and I'm looking forward to seeing, like, you know, Blue Beetle will probably be there, Batman will probably be there, Superman. Like, I'm excited to see who else.
Maybe Swamp Thing somehow, since we are getting a Swamp Thing movie. I still am so fucking excited for that movie because they said it's gonna be a full-on horror movie, and fuck all of you. Well, not really on this one because there's a lot of reasons that the show got canceled. But that was a good show. Derek Mears was awesome in the role. Like, goddamn, give me Swamp Thing. I just want Swamp Thing.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Yeah. Well, anything else you want to say about Blue Beetle real quick before we bounce?
Stick around for the mid and post credit scene. It has some good stuff there.
I stuck around for the mid. I didn't stick around for the post because I looked it up and thought that's fucking stupid. I don't want to see that.
It was funny.
Yeah. I'm happy with my decision.
You're the worst.
Well, next week, Gran Turismo, maybe, unless it gets pushed again. It'll admittedly probably be a while before we do another one of these. I might do one in the next few weeks on Equalizer 3 or The Nun 2 or Haunting in Venice, but September is going to be kind of a sparse month for this show.
So, yeah, we need a break after pretty, like, let's just be honest, subpar year of summer blockbusters.
Yeah. Covering a lot of box office disasters has not exactly been, you know, I won't say it's been fun, but it's been kind of disillusioning.
Yeah. I'm hoping Saw's the one I'm looking at squarely at bringing back some box office gold here.
No. So if I do more first thoughts, it'll probably be with a different co-host because you don't want to see all that shit, which I get.
Yeah. I'm not. No, Hooker Perot. I don't need more. And fuck you, Nun 2. Fuck you hard.
Well, yeah, check out our other content. We got stuff happening every week, and go see Blue Beetle. Could use the money.
It really could. It really, really could.
Take it easy.